I was born and raised in Hagerstown. My mom was born and raised in Hagerstown. My dad was originally from Indiana and then moved to Washington, D.C. And I went to the Hagerstown Junior College, graduate of North High, went to Hagerstown Junior College, then I transferred to the University of Maryland, and then I came back here and started working as a PE teacher at St. Maria Goretti High School, and I was there for 32 years. And I became the athletic director at the end of the time period there in the last 15, 20 years, I forget. And I retired in 2010 and then began another avenue of being able to do things for the community. My parents led by example, and my dad was very active in the Hagerstown Volunteer Fire Department at Engine 5, and also through the University of Maryland Extension with fire safety. And my mom was very active here at the Women's Club, but also with the AAUW book sale and through church. And so they always were volunteering. They were always going to meetings in the evenings and weekends doing things. And it became, especially with the book sale and here, became a family event. We would all help out. And so it just was a natural fit for me to follow in their footsteps. Micahs Backpack is a ministry that gives children food for the weekends. And it started in Blacksburg, Virginia, at a Lutheran church, and a member of our church, Addie Harding, who was a student at Virginia Tech, brought the idea back to Trinity, and his mother, Mona Harding, really started it at Trinity. And we did a couple bags at Bester Elementary at the end of 2010. And that summer, I was getting calls from other churches saying, how can we start this? And I've heard about this program. So it really grew into something that I did not anticipate it growing into. And now we have 47 churches and organizations that are involved. And we're doing every elementary school in Washington County, plus selected middle and high schools. And we are doing, our highest has been like 1,020 bags a week. Right now, we're about 975, and it's growing after we continued to do it during the pandemic, but in an altered fashion. Oh, I just think Washington County is very, very blessed with so many giving people, volunteers, but also just they care about the community, they care about the individuals who live in the community, and they want to give back. They want to help. I have a very supportive husband, and he helps me with everything that I volunteer for, and always has. And I'm just so blessed that he is part of that, my support system, and he is the support system. And my boys do it, and I also have 4 granddaughters, and they have helped pack for Micahs, and they have helped come down here and help with things at the Women's Club when I'm volunteering down here. So everyone, it's a family affair. It's a family affair, and they don't care if we don't have dinner on time or if my house is not pristine. They are okay with that. Well, I guess I've done it as long as I can remember. When I worked at Goretti, I tried to instill in the children at the school that they needed to develop time to give back. And so we had programs at the school. We did adopted families for Christmas. We had canned food drives. We also always made meals for the Reach Cold Weather Shelter. And that was when it was going, not at Reach, it was going from church to church. But I always made sure that we had a club there with the athletes, the varsity club, and the varsity club's responsibility was to come down and cook a meal and serve it at the cold weather shelter. So we always did that through all my years at Goretti. So I always wanted to, embrace the philosophy that you needed to give back to your community. Go out and do good. That's what I always hoped the students, when they left, that they would go out and do good. One of the things that really, with Micahs, I have a lot of stories with Micahs, just because we talk about them at our community meetings. We always ask, does anybody have good news to share? So teachers will talk about how it's affected the children. But one of the things that made us really pause was that we had the prison got involved, and a couple times, and we do Bester. My church does Bester, and so somebody from the prison, a worker at the prison, they have a community, or I don't know what they're called. They are a connection between the prison and the Washington County. And he contacted about they wanted to make a collection of food, and specifically wanted to go to Bester, which made me think that either he has a relative, a child maybe at Bester that's receiving this and he wants to be able to help, or he was one of the children that would have done this. Of one of the prisoners at MCI, because we went down to receive the food donations, and that's always a eye-opening experience to walk into MCI. And we met in a room, and they were very emotional and about the fact that this person was definitely a child who was hungry when he was growing up, and that he kind of started stealing food early on because of the hunger, and not that it was the only thing that led down to a path that he wished he wouldn't have taken, but hunger was a base issue for him as a child. And I think we all left in tears that day hearing his story. And then when he went into talked to other prisoners about what they were doing, and kind of saying, come on, you can give, can't you give to this? And that was a repeated thing throughout many of the people who donated to his drive. He was just personally doing this drive down there for food. So we have worked at MCTC and MCI, and who would have ever thought that when you're starting a program to feed elementary school children, that the prisoners and the prisons would want to become involved in giving back to that cause. If someone were to ask me to describe myself in a couple words, I think most people think I'm enthusiastic and dedicated to projects and to missions, and that I'm a caring individual. I would like for future generations to be able to love this building. We are 100 years old, the Women's Club, and I would like that to live on for others to enjoy, and for women to be able to continue living here. And of course, Micah's Backpack, you always hope that the need for food will lessen, but as long as there's a need for food, I'm hoping that Micahs will be able to continue to provide that weekend food, and that people realize the blessings that they have and share those blessings. The saying, you're blessed to be a blessing, and I hope that people would embrace that as their philosophy in life. And if everyone did that, wouldn't the world be just a better place?